Now it's time for us to talk a bit about, and we finally get to the paper, right? It's time for us to talk about materials and the materials that I prefer to use right now, and to be frank, what I used for the most part of for the better part of the last 5 to 6 years. If you take a look at my current output in terms of drawing, you're gonna find two things. So for example, this is one of my sketchbooks, and if I open it, you will find a piece like this. And let me just zoom in for a bit. Okay. And this drawing is made using what's called a brush pen on paper. So this is an example of my current output in terms of drawings, my main style, and also a very good representation of what it is that you can do with a brush pen. You can see that the strokes vary widely, not widely, but there's a bit of stroke change as the lines go. I can go from very thin to very thick. Another example here from an event. So this is an example of my current output. And then on the other side of the coin, this one, this book has been one of my main focus for the past 2 years. It's a travel book, a summary of a period back in 2023 when I traveled to Japan with my wife. And you can see here an example of a drawing made using what's called a fine liner, and the entire book is made up of these drawings made using fine liners. So one more here as an example. The entire book, not the entire book, but many of the drawings that you see on this book can be found on my Instagram. So you can have an idea of my current style and my current output. Chances are, again, like I said, if you're here, chances are you probably are familiar with some of my work. But yeah, this was made using a fine liner. This part that you see here in gray, it's called screen tone. We are going to talk about it in a bit, but it's not the main point of the course. But maybe we can have special course or extra class around the use of screen tones. But I really like this book. It's probably one of the favorite things I ever done. So this is a restaurant. Anyway, let's talk about materials, and we're going to focus on what I use to generate my current output in terms of drawings. So first things first, the idea is that what I show you, it's not overly expensive. That's the intent. I do like to collect art supplies, right? But that's something that I enjoy doing. That's something that I enjoy doing. It's not something that you need to do actively. It's not something that I'm not expecting you to be wasting a whole lot of money on this. You should buy materials that, first, like I said before, that you enjoy, and also materials that you feel comfortable with, also money-wise. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the venerable pencil. So this is a simple Faber-Castell pencil. Not much to say here. It's good to have a pencil, maybe two. I recommend like an HB pencil. HB and a 2B pencil. HB, 2B, I think that's good enough for what you need for illustration. And it doesn't need to be a Faber-Castell pencil, far from it. There are a lot of pencil brands that offer a good price for the purposes of illustration. The second thing, and this is what I use the most in terms of pencil, is the, how do you even say this in English? It's the, okay, so you see this is very conversational, because I completely forgot the name of this. It's the mechanical pencil, of course, it's the mechanical pencil. I use mechanical pencils quite a bit for sketching. Right here you see a selection of mechanical pencils from Pentel, and these go from cheap to more expensive. The cheapest one is this one, the P209 M and X. This is the most affordable one, and it's just very good for the price. It is very good. It has the right shape. There's also the tough pencil. I think this one is exclusive to Japan. I might be wrong. And then there's this one which this one is very good, but it's more expensive. The P365 pencil. It's a bit more heavy. There's an even heavier version of the pencil. This one is very good, very comfortable. The grip here. But again, you can, for mechanical pencils, you don't need to think a whole lot about it. I don't recommend that you think a whole lot about it. Just find something that you like, that you enjoy using. That's very important. Something that you enjoy sketching with, right? And I think for the leads, just go with 0.5, and HB. Don't make it complicated. If you can even go lower. I think there's 0.3 if you're looking for something that's a bit more thin, but no need to overcomplicate. Then we get to something that I use a lot. It's called brush pen, and in particular it's the Pentel brush pen that you see here. The Pentel brush pen, the long brush pen, because they also market what's called the pocket brush pen, but the Pentel brush pen, it's just as close to perfection in regards to a brush pen that you can find. It's, for me at least, the length is perfect and the tip is amazing. And they usually come in these packages. They're not the cheapest option, can go between $7 maybe to $10, depends on where you are. Maybe you can find a deal. They are rechargeable, which is good. And one thing to keep in mind is that the vast majority of these Pentel brush pens are not waterproof. But I think that helps, it works to their advantage. Why is that? Because the ink pigment, it's probably the best thing that they have in the brush pen, outside of the bristles, which are tremendous. It's just the right amount of dark, while also leaving a bit of gradation, so that you can get an interesting effect out of it. This is why I enjoy it so much. What I mean by the gradation, let's say you have, and this one ran out of ink because I used it too much. I have another here. This one is also ran out of ink. Fortunately, I have infinite of these pens, but let's say I'm drawing, right? And you probably already saw this trick before, but let's say I'm drawing this. Just a character. And you see the ink is quite black here, but I can smudge it just a bit for an interesting gray effect that adds depth to a drawing. I really enjoy it because of this. just allows to the addition of depth to a drawing that just make it very, very pleasing. I really like it. Plus it's long. I can hold it like this. I can hold it more like this, depending on the needs. It's just an incredibly comfortable object to use in terms of drawing. For me, for my end anatomy, for my end proportions, it's just great. The Pentel brush pen does come in multiple sizes. It has this, which is the standard size. There's also a size that it is unique to Japan, which is the big brush pen, the big bristles. This one is quite big, super thick, but also non-waterproof. And they also sell, also in Japan, the thin one, and I'll leave the references throughout the video so that if you're interested. But this one has the thinner bristle. It's more of a precise drawing instrument. I also want to highlight that Pentel also sells a brush pen that is waterproof. You've probably seen it before. It's the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen. So it's this one. This is the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen. You've probably seen it before. It's very used. This one is waterproof, the ink. Personally, it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite drawing instrument, simply because of the length of the pen. If this thing was a bit longer, I would just be all over it. They also sell this ink barrel in waterproof version, but the ink for some reason is super thick. It takes a bit more to getting used to, but yeah, I do prefer using the non-waterproof version of the pen currently. It doesn't mean that in the future maybe I could change and just use a bit more the waterproof version, because of course the waterproof version does allow you to then ink your drawing, paint your drawing with watercolor, which does increase the flexibility of the pen and also I think makes the drawing potentially more attractive if that's what you're interested. So keep in mind that Pentel offers both waterproof and non-waterproof versions of their brush pen, but the vast majority of them are non-waterproof. In that regard, I'd want to say that they also have different colors. My favorite color is the steel blue color. Steel blue color. Simply because, I don't know, I just like the blue tone that it has. I think it's super useful for a variety of situations. Super cool pen. You can get super precise with it. It's the pen of champions. I hope they continue making this pen until I'm very old. Otherwise, I'll be very sad. I just want a quick aside regarding brush pens. The market has a lot of brush pens available, a lot. And I have behind me, you probably can see it from this small video feed that we have. The market has a lot of brush pens available. Different brands try to do it. My recommendation is stick to Japanese brands in regards to brush pen. They have the manufacturing capability. A lot of the brush pens that you see from European manufacturers, it's not with bristles, it's with felt. The tip, and it's not good. It's an imitation of a brush pen. It's not a brush. It's a felt tip pen. So stick to a Japanese brand. Pentel, like I said. Kuretake also makes some very nice ink brushes. Kuretake ink brushes, for the most part, are waterproof. That's their differentiator. But they also make tremendous ink pens. It's just that the ink is different. Acacia Sai, this is more of a niche, harder to find, definitely. Kaimei brushes as well, but those use real animal fur. The Kaimei brushes, it's more of a premium product as well. Very hard to find in Europe. I'm not sure about the US. I'll leave a reference to these brands, but Pentel is widely found in Europe at least. I think also in the US they're very widely found there. So if you're looking for a brush pen, just go use one from Pentel, really. I also use occasionally what's called a ink brush, and in this case this is an ink brush that I developed. This is a custom ink brush. It's called the Olivia brush. It's not available for sale, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time about it. It's just that you might have a question if you see me on a video grinding ink into a pot and then doing the drawing with the ink. Essentially the whole technique is that, and I put here, you have an ink stone, you have a piece of ink, and you put some water here, right? As I was saying, you put some water here. Let me put some water. You grind the inkstone on the water. And you are left with usable ink that you can then use for a drawing. I didn't put a whole lot of water here. The idea is that you would also have a bit of water on the side to use to sharpen the tip of the brush. Using an ink brush just increases tenfold your line weight, your line density, as well as your line expression. The thing is that an ink brush, it's not an independent instrument, and you need to have some reservoir of ink and also of water with you. Otherwise, it will not work. I made this one because I really wanted to have a brush pen made to my measures. It's great. It's not available for sale, but you can most certainly find an ink brush if you're interested, available online or at an art store. Try to find something, my recommendation, something that is long, and also on the bristles is also long. Quality of the bristles matters a lot. It's key. The other thing I want to talk about is the fine liner or point liner. What I use the most is the Pentel point liner. This one is a 0.05 tip. You've probably seen it. It's what I used to do that sketchbook of traveling, that travel sketchbook. Essentially what it does is that it does a line with the same weight, no variability. It's a very technical pen in that sense. So I really enjoyed using it for my travel sketchbook, and overall it's an instrument that I didn't use for a whole lot of time, but recently I've been finding it more and more enjoyable to use. It's a super pen, and for the purposes of a simple, clean drawing instrument that you can take anywhere, a point liner is a great drawing instrument that I deeply enjoy, and that I recommend that you try it yourself as well. And it doesn't need to be a Pentel. There are multiple brands that offer fine liners for purchase that you can try out, see if they work for you as well. And they also come in multiple sizes as well. This is something I want to emphasize, and my recommendation would be to buy maybe a 0.05, a 0.1, and a 0.2. With this, and to summarize this first part of the video, I want to make a couple recommendations to you, and I'll have them show up on the main feed. Sorry, on the main video. My main recommendation would be for you to buy a good pencil. I'll leave a reference to a pencil here, a Pentel mechanical pencil, for example. If you don't have the money, just go get a simple pencil. You can find a good pencil for very cheap. Also get an eraser. I did forget to mention an eraser as well. Next up, if you have the means, and if it's available in your country, try to get a brush pen, Pentel brush pen in particular. Try to get 1 or 2 colors. I recommend the black, the steel blue, and the red. These are my favorites. The red I don't use a whole lot for drawing, but I do use for corrections, so that would be also my recommendation. Lastly, try to get a couple of point liners or fine liners. Any brand will do. Choose one that has a nice price within your means. My recommendation would be to get a 0.05 tip, 0.01, and a 0.02. Those will be my recommendations for this first part of the video. For the next video, we're going to talk about some other drawing instruments that I use that you don't necessarily need to have, but it's part of my workflow, and maybe you also want to try them as well. So see you in a bit.